10. All right, we're going to do spirals today. And
That's very appropriate.
sorry,
The spiral.
okay, right. We're gonna do. Oh no, wait. You got to share your screen share first. Share screen.
I've got an exam tomorrow. Let me just work out how not to spiral tonight, shall we?
This is great. This is where we're at. Okay, right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. We've already chatted a
Yeah.
bit. We don't need to describe how we're feeling in a weather. Fuck it. We'll do it. Laura, how would you describe yourself in weather form today?
Um, like I'm not quite sure what the sky is going to do. I've been through all the things, but I made my dinner and put on some very like upbeat music. So at this point, you know when the weather's very changeable, but it's gonna be okay.
Okay, so you don't know what's coming next.
Changeable.
Love that. Alison?
Cloudy,
Nice.
like me brain.
I'm going to be awkward and difficult and reference it in a song title by Crowded House, 4 Seasons in One Day.
Love that. Love that. Kind of similar to Laura's. Ever changing. At any moment, we could be up shit's creek without a paddle. All right, next one. Guys, is anyone epileptic?
No.
No.
Epileptic, look away now if you're watching this back on record. All right, you need to stare at the center of the screen for as long as you can, taking nice deep breaths. Don't get distracted from outside of the screen. Just stare right at the screen and focus in. And then when it stops, close your eyes 2 seconds and then open them again and look around the room and see what's happening. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not working. Okay, go. Let's see if this works. Everyone staring.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is it swirling for anyone?
I'm going to be a party pooper and say no, but I'm a bit weird.
You weren't staring hard enough. Anyone else? I mean, it happened for about 2 seconds, then it went.
I don't know. It made me tired looking at it. I felt like I could nod off.
Oh, this didn't have the desired effect. Okay, what happens? Well, you're supposed to do it for 60 seconds, but I can only get a recording for 30. So anyway, you're supposed to look at it, and then it makes the whole room swirl. And it swirled for me for a couple of seconds, but not very long. All right, that was my icebreaker. Moving on. All right, today we're going to go over the spiral. Now, this is obvious when you were in a spiral. Yeah, so we all know what the spiral is. It's the ADHD spiral that makes us absolutely spin out. And so what I've done is I've made an acronym for it. You know how the other week we were looking at your doomday kind of package and what to do and what to look at. This is again another kind of tool along those lines. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Spirals. S is for stop, pinpoint, identify your needs, reduce the pressure, anchor, and then launch.
Is this a little bit like a deluxe version of that, like CBT, catch it, check it, challenge it kind of theory?
Yeah.
Is this like a Charlotte Fry, sorry, Charlotte Church, why the bloody hell did I say that? Where'd that come from? A Charlotte Fry deluxe version.
This is my version and I made it and I'm really proud of it.
Yes, it's awesome. Right, marvellous.
Because I'm not going to go catch it, check it. Like when I'm in a spiral, all I'm thinking about is being in a spiral. And I feel like spiral is a better word to use because I'm in a spiral. So it just seems fitting, you know?
Yes, I agree, actually. That makes sense.
So, S is for stop. Pause the spiral, breathe, name it, be with it, not in it. Now, this is really, really, really like so much easier said than done. But you know, the moment when you know you've got to that level and you're freaking out, it's all going wrong and you can't see clearly, things start. I mean, in my mind, it's like, you know, those houses on those like spy Bond films where the system kicks in and the shutters start coming down on the building to lock it all in. That's kind of what I think my brain is doing when I've gone into a spiral. It's kind of going, oh, fuck no. We are closing everything down. And that's how my spiral goes. So I get myself in such a tizzy that nothing's going to happen beyond that. We want to try and catch it before we get there. So this is about breaking the pattern, interrupting it before it happens. So first step is to just stop, take a moment of awareness, take a breath, say to yourself, I'm spiraling right now, and that's okay. This, when we're saying, you know, that language, this is okay, if we berate ourselves and go, oh my God, I'm such an idiot, why am I here? What am I doing? Why didn't I do this? And we can't start naming the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, that's going to send us more into that spiral. We're just going to, that language isn't going to do us any favors. We have to be kind at that point. So this is about, yeah, again, just coming in with compassion. Have I, another one for stopping, if you're not good at thought stopping, I tap. My go-to for really getting in the moment, like immediate relief, is just to tap it out. And that just centers me and brings me back to, okay, this is us right now. This is where we're at. Okay, P is for pinpoint. What triggered this spiral? Again, we're just being curious. We're not being critical. Laura, if it was in your case, we wouldn't say, I should have done so much more revision. Or
I definitely had it. I had it yesterday, and it resulted because, as you told me in our coaching, I need to not have late nights. So I had one late night, almost like I was like, I'm not doing it in the night she said I did it at 4, and I knew like going to bed at like 3 a.m. and then it was yesterday, and I was like, and because it's bank holiday, the gym wasn't open, and that's where I was spiraling. But I knew, like, I was almost like, you say like spiral, like in my head I've got like a helter skelter, and I was just like climbing up to the top there. I'm gonna do it now, so I don't do it before, because this is what I said I do. And then like, so I didn't go up as high up the helter skelter, but then I was like, back, now I'm going down it. And then but I was like, right, I need to have like full on hair wash, shower, walk the dog, have like something nutritious. But yeah. I kind of almost, it was weird, like I was pinpointing it as I was like getting ready for it, but I was almost like letting myself to get it out my system, which is probably a different thing after this.
Yeah, a little bit. We've gone a little bit on the self-destruct side there, but that's okay. So pinpoint. So what is getting us to that point? What has triggered us? It can be something that someone said to us, a task that you've been avoiding, too much sensory input. I get really overwhelmed when it's too busy, too much noise going on, too many things, places, like trying to find, or if I'm going to a meeting and it's in Central and it's in Bank, or it's in, I don't know how many times I've got on that tube. I know which one I'm getting. Somehow I get to that tube, which way, you know, eastbound, westbound, whatever it is, and I freak. These are the moments that can really like trigger us. So it's identifying what's triggered it for you. They will have patterns. You as you build your awareness, you'll start to be able to pinpoint your pinpoints more, if that makes sense. So I is for identify your needs. Oops, sorry, I keep having to move the Zoom thing across the page. Blocking my view. What do I need right now? This is such a simple question, and we don't ask ourselves it enough. When we're starting to spiral, when we're starting to freak out, I really like to think of myself as a toddler, because it's so much easier to help a toddler than it is a 33-year-old child having a meltdown. So what do I need? Do I need water? Do I need food? Really simple. Do I just need a bit of movement? Do I just need to get out the front door and go for a 10-minute walk? Dopamine, a break, snack, clarity, comfort, whatever it is, try and identify within your brain, what am I actually looking for here?
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but do you ever find that you postpone comfort breaks because you're focused on something, you don't want to break off, and then you put yourself in this really weird situation where you're busting for a pee, and next you end up with like things like headaches and crap like that because you're sort of like you've messed with your sort of body chemistry?
So this is your executive function coming in, and what's happening there is it's transition. So we have a real trouble with transitioning into different things. So if we've gone into a hyperfocus or we're engaged in something, it's really hard to apply the brakes to go for a wee and then come back. The energy, the effort it takes for us to get back into what we've just come away from is a lot. So yeah, we do put it off. This is it's your executive functioning skill coming, or lack of it there, for it of transitioning. So it's learning how to get into that focus easier, and also learning how to stop. This is why I love the Pomodoro and why I bang on about it so much with my clients. because the more we get into the habit of on 25, off of 5, on 25, off of 5, we avoid that kind of hours or two, however long.
Yeah, it don't become an alien thing to you.
Yeah, and it's annoying at first because you're like, shit. At first, when you first try and get used to the Pomodoro, you may have only got into it in the last 5 minutes, and then it feels unproductive. But it's about sticking to it so that you learn to kind of train that part of the brain that we're active now, we're off now, we're on now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
R is for reducing the pressure. So we're going to shrink the task. So once we've identified what's going on, what we need, what the task is that's overwhelming us, we make it doable. Spirals often come from pressure. So too much going on, too many things to think about. When we make it doable, then it feels like it's achievable. And just that alone can help us pull us out of that spiral. Yeah, Pomodoro, setting timers, asking for help. A lot of us don't like asking for help. It's like I don't know, it's a classic ADHD thing. We just don't like reaching out and going, I'm really struggling right now. Do you mind helping me? But practicing it and getting used to it, it really, really helps. It can even be, if you're at home, you got to cook the dinner, you got to, I don't know, I'm thinking of in my head now, if there's too much to do. Actually, I'll give you a classic example today. I had lots of calls today. I was back to back. I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to wash the floors. I wanted to clean the sofa and walk the dog. What I should have done is I should have asked my housemate, would you mind walking the dog? Because she was home all day doing nothing. But I didn't. So we're not all perfect, but that is a classic time that I should have, instead of spiraling into shit panic mode, let's do everything at once, I should have just asked for some help. So yeah, reduce the pressure, ask for help when you can. A, it's for anchor. So ground yourself, use your body, breath, or environment. Before you act, anchor yourself. This might be grounding object, a breath, your posture, a mantra. Anchoring brings you back into the present moment. So at the beginning, I was saying how I like to tap. That's my anchoring. That's me bringing myself back into my body. That, for me, it immediately grounds me. If anyone's coming for the meetup next Saturday, you will see me doing this a lot, because there'll be loads going on and I'll be really overstimulated. This just helps me. And I'll often do this. If I've got a necklace on, I'll be playing with that. Rings, anything that I can twiddle, fiddle, anything, play with. Laura will know from being on calls with me, I'm permanently, where are my little fidget toys? This should just have them. I don't know where my little fidget toys are. Oh, that's so weird. Where have they gone? There's nowhere that there could be because I just cleaned the flat. Anyway, I've got a little packet of like magnetic balls that I sit and fiddle with when I'm on my calls. I actually have a crystal next to my, I don't know why, I just really like the feel of it. It's nice and smooth. Again, it's anchoring. So finding something that can anchor you into the present moment whilst you're kind of
I don't know whether this is like good or not, but I kind of like pinch myself, not like hard, but it's almost like to feel like a bit of pain.
Yep.
To like bring it back and like almost to make yourself do something. I'm not sure if that's a bit like self-harm.
No. Are you using it like a soothing purpose? It's sort of like a soothing properties, I would say, from it. Because you're saying you're using something with a very smooth touch, or I say movement, but things like that, textures and things like that can be really conducive to that.
Yeah, 100%. I remember doing therapy once where this I just got a really like weird thing that I'm about to overshare. That was so weird. Anyway, we'll go into it because we share everything on here. I used to be really bad with self-harm, and one of the tools that they used to get me to do is I haven't got one on me, but like have a hairband.
Oh, the pinging thing.
Ping it on my wrist.
Yeah, do that.
Instead of going straight to cutting, I would instead ping the hairband. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I suppose it is anchoring because in the moment I was looking for relief. I didn't know this. I was very young. I was in my teenage years. Yeah, I was looking for relief from my mind. It was all too much. But that little shock of like, ooh, yeah, brought me back down. It did ground me. There are other things like, so, is it self-harm? I mean, if you're pinching to the point that it's
no, it's more. I think it's more just it's enough that it does it. So I'm kind of like I'm like have a like horrible call at work and I'm doing it because it's like it's taken away. So that like the pain of having like to do whatever you're doing in front of you, it takes your mind
So you
away.
can try.
It's like an induced, would you say it's an induced distraction?
Yeah. It proves you're like real. Is that again, that sounds a bit weird.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't sound weird. I totally know exactly. Yeah, because in that moment we can start to come out of our head or not out of our body. It's not a It's not. We're not going into complete dissociation, but I do see a lot of characteristics with ADHD and dissociation. It's like we're almost not there. It's our brain's starting to check out. So yeah, little things like that can bring us back to the moment, back in the here and now. You can do pressure point if you like a pain. If a pain is what really grounds you quite quickly. No, it's totally normal.
Yeah.
This is very, very normal. There's a pressure.
Only if you're a sadomasochist, Charlotte.
I'm not going to start getting us all to self-harm, guys. It's make a really fucking dark turn. There is a point on the back of your sort of like that webby bit in between your thumb.
Yeah.
If you put a bit of pressure there, you don't need much, and you get it's quite tender. That's quite a good one because you don't do any damage, you don't do any harm. If you like the idea of pressure, of that really brings you back down and it's grounding, you could try that one. I think there's loads of other ones, but I don't know off the top of my head. That's just the ones that I know of. Okay, L is for launch. Take one gentle, doable micro step forward. So once we've identified everything that's going on, what's happening, why we're doing it, what we're needing, we're going to take one step forward into it. We don't need to do everything all at once, like I did today. We're just going to do something gentle, and that's to get the momentum going and pull us out of the spiral. This gives us a sense of relief that we are in control of the spiral. The spiral is not controlling us. Yeah. So one thing that we can do that's going to pull us out of it towards our next step. To something shine, to all kind, progress over perfection. Yeah. Again, we love to go into perfection. And normally we're in a spiral because it's not perfect. If it's more, object and task based, it's probably because we want to do it all at once, and we're not just thinking, well, at least 10 minutes of doing the floor would be enough, Okay, all right. So I was hoping for more people. What I'd like to do is break off into 2 rooms. How are we gonna do this? There's 3. Okay, I will do it. 4 people. Okay, so what we're going to do is describe a recent moment where you felt like you were spiraling. I want you to identify what triggered it. How did you feel in your body? How did it feel in your thoughts? And how did it affect your actions? We're just looking at reflection here. Then I'd like you to name it. So the Sunday scaries, the inbox dread, whatever it is that gets you into that like panic tizzy. What I'm going to do is I might just copy and paste everything I just said. Oh my God, how do I make that go away? I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat, and then you know what you're supposed to be doing. Where's the chat? Breakout room. Okay. Now, I'm gonna go here. Breakout rooms. Create 2 breakout rooms. Create. Oh, bollocks. Did I do it right? Oh, I did it. Thank God for that. So I didn't do it. I didn't do it right. You've got me, Jeff.
Short straw.
You're stuck with me. All right. So name a time where you recently spiraled.
Spiral. It was regarding my. How can I put this? It was to do with my mate being where he obviously losing his brother. I get this compelling sense of duty because I count him as a good and dear friend. So I get this compelling sense of duty to try and, within my power, to do my best to be supportive, or try and, within reason. Obviously, it's got to be within reason. And I was just I spiraled a bit because I felt that he was in a really dark place. He is in a dark place. He is. But just just trying to make sure I gave enough support so he felt that he wasn't going to do or get anything stupid. He was under the influence of alcohol as well at the time, which made that a little bit more difficult. So I had this compelling sense of protection, which might sound a little strange, but that's what it was. But I had to check myself a little bit on it because I thought, this guy's 55 years old. He's got to be able to grieve in his own way. I might be overthinking it or panicking a little bit. But he just, when somebody, they're in a bad place, but they talk in a way that that ain't good.
Yeah. Okay. So the spiral for you was your friend was clearly in a really, really dark place, and that triggered something in you that you felt that you needed to fix. You needed to make it all okay for him.
I knew I couldn't do that, but I just needed to know in myself I'd done the best I could within a reasonable set of boundaries. That makes sense.
How do you think you felt emotionally? Like, where were you emotionally about it?
A little bit vulnerable, a little bit concerned, maybe scared might be the right word, possibly.
What were you scared of?
Not being enough or not doing enough to support him, or saying the wrong thing. So a little bit of overthinking there, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
was there worry?
Yeah, concern. Yeah, worry, concern. Definitely, I would say so. So that in itself, but I managed to check myself, and it's going like, I can only do so much. I'm here as a friend. I'm here to support, and do the best I can, but I cannot solve his problems for him. I cannot fix this shit he's going through.
So you were able to come to that point. How long do you think you were like sitting in that energy of shit?
Probably 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of that 15, 20 minutes was just trying to explore in my own head. Have I touched this base? Have I touched that base? And just just feel like I've done my best I can with the tools I've got in the situation I'm in, and I can make peace with myself. If the wheels fall off, I could know that I didn't feel guilty that I hadn't done enough. I know that seems really quite dark and sinister.
No. Honestly, Jeff, no. So, what I'm just curious. Why did your brain go there? Why did you need to be the one that made it okay?
Just that it was about 20 past midnight. It was drunk. And you just sometimes hear a tone in a voice. And I just thought, I don't like that.
How do you know that tone?
I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure. It struck a chord with me, and I just thought it was out of character. It was quite dark. It was low. I can imagine him potentially harming it. I had this feeling of, could he harm himself? He was just like, he said like, he said, I'm not going to duo. He caveated it, but he says, I just don't feel like I want to be here anymore.
Okay.
So he caveated that he wouldn't, but then he said that so it was like a bit of a double sided coin.
No,
So I didn't want to, because obviously when people are in that situation and under the influence of alcohol, sometimes doing anything that's provocative in what you say, so whether it be, are you sure you're okay? It's like, I said that, I didn't want to trigger him,
yeah,
but I just would, it's like, because the thing is as well, when people under, obviously you experience that, when you're under the influence of alcohol, there can be a lot of truth in there. There's some frightening truth in people when they're pissed. Which can be, quite common. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I was drunk, I didn't mean it. I think people mean a hell of a lot of shit when they're drunk, to be brutally honest. And it's not an excuse at all. I think a lot of people let out stuff that that's how they genuinely feel. It might be a bit blunt and a bit clumsy and a bit, you wouldn't probably deliver it in the way that you delivered it, but the truth and the heart in it is not far from where it needs, from the actual crux of the matter.
My dad used to say, a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the trigger for you is you're a very empathetic person and you've obviously had your fair share of mental health struggles. And I'm wondering if the trigger for you was you recognize more in him about yourself and knowing how that feels.
The vulnerability, quite possibly. That self-loathing thing, maybe, that sort of that. Yeah. I've never wanted to take my own life. I've felt very, very down, very depressed. I've felt points in my life where I have been there, but I've never sort of like thought I want to end things for myself. But I recognise that maybe thoughts I've had the potential to turn into that, possibly. Because I don't believe anybody to say that. I think that potentially is within anybody. They might not have experienced it or been there, or they wouldn't do it. But I believe with the right certain circumstances, I think a lot of human beings are capable of a hell of a lot of stuff that they say they couldn't do.
Yeah, no.
All it takes is a certain set of circumstances, whatever there may be.
Yeah, the right scenario. No, I agree. Okay, so your spiral was something that was very highly motivated in emotion.
Yeah.
A bit of recognition in I think I've been there. I know what it's like to just feel shit like this and be vulnerable. And that kind of maybe triggered something in you of, oh God, I've felt like that loss before as well, and that's not fun, and I want to help him and I want to pull him out. So there may have been a little bit of projection of how you feel in those situations.
There's a chance of that, yeah.
Putting your ideas of what that's like on him, not in a bad way. This is all very, support. In your this was your mind support. So, but what you were able to do is the way you brought yourself out was kind of taking a step back and saying, I can't do this. I can't fix this for him. He's got to find the light.
No, you can't fix a man losing his younger brother. You can't fix that. It's something that is unfixable. It's just something you have to learn to live with.
Yeah, grief.
And the thing is, and I always say whenever I speak to anybody who's had loss, it comes in so many forms and people have to go through their own process. As bizarre and potentially fucked up as it might appear to the outside world, that process is exclusive to you. I just wanted to feel it's maybe almost a selfish thought in the fact that I didn't want to be in a situation where I'd not been the best friend I could be in that situation. So is there an element of like my own failings, fear, potentially? but also a deep concern for my friend. So I think, even though I had a deep concern for my friend, I can't deny that there was potentially some selfish thoughts in there too.
How did it affect your actions after? So kind of going into the spiral, how did your
I thought I needed to check myself, so I did, and I just said, you know, I'm going to give you a ring in the morning, and I said I'm going to call you in the morning, and we'll have a bit of a catch up, and I mentioned about something else. I think it was something to do with um, so it was something to do with it. He's got a Toyota Land Cruiser, old 70s one, and I was something to do with that as well. So I'm said, you get yourself some sleep. You say you've had he said you had a few drinks and stuff. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, and we'll have a proper catch up. We'll do it on FaceTime because this were a phone call. It was late at night, and I said I'll FaceTime you tomorrow when you get up. I'll give you a shout. And he went, all right, yeah, okay. And obviously he made a commitment then to me to speak to me tomorrow afternoon. So that in itself,
you anchored him in? Yeah,
I've locked him in. We've made an agreement.
I love that. Okay.
And the fact that he's quite a principled guy, he's promised me that we'd check in.
He's not going to let you down on a promise. That's amazing that you were able to catch that.
So
what should we name this? Should we name it your... Do you know what one kind of comes into my head? It's either like a hero or a fixer, the fixer spiral, or the wanting, or the savior spiral.
I think sometimes I've always been thinking it just comes from being a father and a dad as well. And the job of a man, I believe, is to serve. I believe that what makes a decent man, to serve. And that service comes in the form of provision, protection, caring, understanding, help, assistance, maybe some education. That's my job as a man, and especially as a father to my family. So, and as a friend as well, I feel like I have those obligations too, because it's something that marks you of character. And I've done some shitty stuff in the past that is not good character, but I try and not stand. Just because I've kicked a football does not make me a footballer. So I try and stand by what I want to do. Yes, I've dropped the ball in the past. Yes, I've done things that are bad character in the past, but I try and stand by what I'm doing moving forward and make those better decisions.
So what are we going to call the spiral?
The
aim here
I think I know I can't fix it, but I want to support, and I just want to
support spiral. Oh, I like that.
Support spiral.
Yeah, you just said you want to serve, you want to, and at your core need, you want to help, but sometimes that could send you into spiral. So support spiral. Okay. I love that.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Let me, it's kind of hard to be on the call and not check in on the other.
Yeah,
I might shut our rooms. Let's shut the rooms and all go back now. Do you think we've been in here 10 minutes? I reckon we've done 10 minutes.
Yeah. I might have to break out though, Charlotte. I think
Sorry, Jeff, I clicked out before as you started saying. I might have to.
I might have to break out. My daughter's just texted me and that sent me email is all made and stuff.
No worries. Jeff, is that frog tape around your door?
A what?
Is that frog tape or is that paint?
It's paint. It's paint. It needs another coat on it, but it's the green on my walls. It's the green on my walls on my fat cave.
Oh,
it's a piece of timber above. There's a piece of timber above my door. It needs another coat. Because it's the same green as my walls. My green room.
Chatting about walls. Jeff, are you going or are you staying for a bit? Or
I'll just jump out. Feel free to chat what I've just talked about. That's fine. Totally cool with that. But I'm gonna have to jump out. I'm afraid. I'm really sorry about that.
No worries. Do what you need to do.
Okay. Right, cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
I just need a wee. I'll be 1 minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna eat some chocolate.
Okay. What was your spiral?
I just kind of went over the spiral I kind of went through, but it's almost like a bit of a self one, get it out of the way. I mean, I do other spirals. I do think before an exam, like everyone has a bit of a spiral. It's human nature. But again, like I could see the points and I knew what to do. So I was happy with that. I just knew I knew I was like letting it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's probably, I should have like shut it down.
You know what though? No, I think it's a first step.
But
The awareness is even there. Fine, you went through with it, but you went through with it consciously. And honestly, Laura, that is an amazing step. It sounds mad.
yeah, I think what I think I did, I doubled up on my stimulants because I wasn't sure whether I'd taken them. I was half certain, but I was like, I can't not study today without it, you know, placebo effect. And I was like, I'm just going to take another one because if it doubles me up, then like if I feel anxious, I know why.
Super Mario.
And I didn't feel that anxious really, but then I couldn't really sleep because I was like, I'll give it another hour just in case, so then it won't hit double.
Crap. Okay, right, let me go back to the screen. All right, so hopefully you guys shared your spirals. With your two, this is so weird now because there's only three of us on this call, but we will continue. So with both of your spirals, did you recognize or did you notice any patterns between them?
Yeah.
Mine's hormones, I think so, food, hormones, just all little changes what I've had to make to stop the spiral of the PMT type of thing where I just self-sabotage really bad and kick off and stuff, whereas I've just avoided all of that and tried to be really good by doing everything, and I think it's the first month I've avoided it for 14 years.
So when you went over a time that you have spiraled, did you guys both go over a scenario where you both spiraled?
Yeah, Alice just said how much better hers was, the thing she'd been doing to stop the spiral almost, which was a nice positive way of talking about it.
Okay, cool. All right. So if we were to look back on the actual spiral itself, Alison, if it was like you going into the hormones, what was happening in the spiral?
Right. So for an example, like if I was going out for a meal to cheer myself up and getting dolled up and that, if me and Mewby went out, if I'd like catch him glaring at a girl for a length of time what he shouldn't, then my insides literally just go,
Oh my God.
and like I do breathing, I try and look away. I've been to the toilet. I've texted my sister in the toilet when I've been on holiday, and she's just like, right, just give yourself 5 minutes, calm yourself down. And it's like once I'd go into that, it'd just be like, I'd shut down then, I can't talk, and he's like, what's up with you? And I can't help but blurt out, well, you're staring at whoever. And then he'd deny it, and then we'd end up falling out then.
Yeah.
And that is a pattern, what I'm trying to suss out. Like, I can go on holiday with him for 2 weeks and 10 days. There's women around us with thongs on and no tops on, and I'm absolutely fine. And there's no issue or jealousy whatsoever. But then I can wake up one day and, like, something's just changed in me. And everything I'm saying it, like you said, do you want a cup of tea? And I'm like, I'm saying, yeah, please. But I'm going, yeah, please. And I'm thinking, it's coming out different to how I'm meaning it. So obviously I'm a bit aggro today, just try and know that. But I always end up like just erupting somehow.
Yeah.
And
okay. So that's quite interesting because there is definitely a pattern in there that you don't like it when your brain takes you to that place because whether he stirred for 20 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever, you know, humans are going to look, right? But it's just a natural thing to do. And you don't like that your brain takes you there. You don't like the way that you're snappy or that you're saying things and you're thinking, I didn't say it like that. Why did it come out like that? So the next question is there an element of shame in it?
yeah, it's embarrassing because like I get to the stage where, or previously I did, I don't want to go out because I don't want to feel like that. It's not that I don't want him to go out, because I do trust him and stuff like that. It's the feeling I get. And I'm like, where have I got this from in the first place? And I think from bad experiences, and my husband did rather like stay up all night watching porn rather than coming to bed. Not him, the ex-husband, sorry. And like, he was very obvious with it. He was like a sight lad, and you know, we all have a jizz mag in the van and we all go at 11 o'clock on our break. Like, it was like a normal thing. And he'd just perv and be like, she's worth one, ain't she? Or something like that. And I didn't really have it with him. All right, I felt crap, but I didn't have the rages and stuff. Whereas Ian's the opposite. He's like a gentleman compared to him. So like when I do catch him, I think he's sly rather than obvious. Do you know what I don't know what it is. But then I've been compared like in my 20s and then in my 30s. What you going out with her for? She's much nicer, like on about my mate who stood next to me. And like in a pub, you can do nice better than her. What you doing with her?
Oh, that's not nice.
And I don't know if it's just a self-esteem thing or a confidence thing.
Yeah, I think it does sound like that. It sounds like a bit of an identity. Like, where am I? What's my value? How am I? You know, yeah, it does. It sounds. So your spiral is definitely kind of that loss of self and the loss of confidence of, well, this is actually my husband and we're in love and we're out for dinner and he can look, but I'm the woman that he loves and I'm the woman that he comes home to, and you know, so it's kind of.
Is it also like, I don't know, maybe because you kind of like your ex, you were younger and you probably tolerated that because it was a norm, and that now your current husband, he is actually being more gentleman because, you know, if a really hot girl walks past and I end up looking, and if like she's got like a great, you know, you do look, but he's actually trying to be more gentlemanly about it. You think he's being sly, but he's just trying, it's human nature, but that he's going back. But because you've had to suppress all that of like going, oh, look at there, it could be like because you're more confident now than and accepted that in your previous relationship, you're almost making up for it and he's paying the price for it. I don't know, maybe I should shut up.
No, I think no, you're right, because that all sort of makes sense, really. But then when I think when you
we put up with when we're like early relationships, if you would go back and tell early, you'd be like, what the hell are you putting up with that for?
Yeah, exactly. And I was besotted and he was a complete arsehole for 10 years and you showed me up everywhere we went, but you put up with it and put up with it and put up with it and make excuses. Whereas now I'm just like, there is no way in memory of man I would sit there and be like that. But it's like, it's me what's reacting. But like, because my sister's like, well, did you notice her? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, and was you thinking Ian's going to look at her now? And he did. Yeah, see, he did. I knew he would. She said, but you're setting him up for it every time because you saw her. So he's going to see her. And I'm like, I know all this and it makes sense, but
not at the time.
But I remember coming out of a nightclub when I was about 15 and my mate was bladdered and her boobs was hanging out. And lads was like, oh, look at tits on her. I remember being so violated and just feeling scared because it was like pitch black and where we was and stuff like that. And I think I was frightened. And when I think about it as well, when I first got drunk when I was 10, I woke up to some boy kissing me. And that come back in my head. And then my friend's son abused me when I was asleep on a couch once when I was about 17. So when I think about all these, I think maybe you're just a bit messed up with men in general, really.
Yeah.
Because all they've done is sort of been taking advantage, but Ian's actually like the nice one. But he's getting all the shit.
Yeah, I think trauma stores itself in different ways. And now that you're in a safe relationship, it may be that it's coming out in a different... Do you see a therapist or anything, Alison?
No.
Have you ever tried therapy?
Yeah, I've had counsellors, but I wasn't, well, I was going to say I wasn't ADHD then, but I wasn't diagnosed or anything then. So, like, when we'd say about problems with me and Ian, she'd, like, say I was needy and stuff like that. And, like, sexual stuff like that never come into it, like my past and childhood and stuff like that.
It might be worth, it might be worth visiting. Obviously this is, I mean, we're doing coaching stuff now, but it's,
Yeah.
I think a lot of the trauma, yeah, it does sound quite trauma based what you're talking about, and the trigger in you. Spirals happen and there are different reasons for the trigger, but if the trigger is very deep rooted and if it's in something to do with childhood, especially around sexual abuse, that can be a very strong, completely uncontrolled response. So what you're dealing with
It feels a bit like fight off. Like it's like I need to move myself out of this situation, so I can't see this happening anymore. And I need to just go and have a walk down the beach and just be on my own, you know, and just like try and walk it off. And because my heart's literally just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
But
I think you're having, yeah, I think you're being triggered by, yeah, I think it's a trauma response rather than a classic kind of what we're talking about here.
yeah.
I'll send you a message after this. I'll send you a message.
Okay, Wilson.
All right, we're going to move on. We're going to go to a different breakout room, but I think actually we've kind of covered everything anyway. We're going to try and coach each other through the spiral. What we can do is, Alison, if you're happy with it, we'll stay on your topic of a woman walking past.
Yeah.
See if we can try and put a spiral to it and try and make it feel better. So gorgeous blonde bombshells walk past, or brunette, whatever he's into. Big boobs, fab outfit, fab bod, all the rest of it. You've seen her, she's walked past, and you've thought he is going to look at her. She is absolutely stunning, and he glances and looks back, and you've gone into rage. This is what we can do. So we can take a moment, raise the awareness, stop, and take a breath. So this is where we want to anchor in. Okay, so you can. I normally would the breath is the first thing for me to do, and then the tapping will probably come after. So we're going to take a breath, anchor in, and we're going to say, right, what has triggered that? We know now from kind of just touching on that briefly, I don't like it when my husband looks at another woman because it makes me feel a certain way around sex, and that's quite traumatic for me. So we know there's a deep trigger in there, right? Identify what's missing. Likelihood is you're looking for safety, you're looking for connection to your husband,
reassurance probably as well.
So saying that to yourself and saying, well, I'm sat here with my husband having a lovely dinner, he loves me, I love him, we've built this beautiful home together, and I'm not going to ruin this moment through my thoughts taking me on a nice helter-skelter. Yeah, reduce the pressure. So in the thoughts side of it, how can we make this feel lighter? Yeah, she's 20 years younger than me, and quite frankly, she probably is better looking. If there's always going to be someone better looking, someone slimmer, someone with bigger boobs, there's always going to be them. All right, we're all women, we've all got our insecurities, and if she's better looking, she's better looking. Fair enough. Reduce the pressure. Who's not going to look at a good looking person? Right? So just kind of easing that in your brain. It's not to say that it's not to take away how you feel about yourself, you know, but it's just to kind of say it's actually not that big a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's legging it over the bar to get a number, then we've got a problem. But if he's just taken a little 2-second glance and then look back at you, we've really got to try and let that wash over us. So reducing it, anchor in, do something again. So what, like I said before, you can practice this in your own time. You do need to practice this before it happens. It's all well and good us talking about this now. When you're in it, and you need to remember it at the time. So practice it before you get into that state. I mean, I've been permanently playing with this tonight. I always have things. There's always something in my pocket, something in my bag that I'm fiddling with or I'm playing with. And that is for me to anchor a physical object. Did anyone watch that film, Inception?
Inception.
I think I had the attention span.
It was the dreams in the. Oh, I love it. I love it. The dreams in the dream. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it. Crap. Anyway, they've got one. It's lost. Anyway, they have this thing in there. They know if they're dreaming because they have an anchor object, and if they can feel the anchor object and see it and do something with it, then they know they're dreaming or they're not. And I quite like that. So yeah, launch. What's one tiny action that I can take a step forward? What if instead of going into fuck, I am raging right now, he's looked at another woman. What if we looked at him and we said, babe, do you know what? I really loved it when you did this for me this week. and pulled the connection back in on you. So he could have, I don't know, say he made you a cup of tea in bed that morning. What if you said to him, instead of going, you fucking looked at her, doing a complete 360 and saying, Joe, I really loved it when you made me a cup of tea this morning. And he'll probably be like, oh, yeah. Or something like that, just to bring the connection back to you two rather than on her or whoever it was.
Could you also, like, before you were going out, like, I don't know, and obviously this is about your, like, dynamic, is like say, oh, I really like that shirt, or like, thanks for making an effort. Like, would he like compliment you back, or does he compliment you back before? Because you could almost orchestrate. So before you go out for a meal, he goes, oh, I really like this, or do you know what I mean? Get your like self-confidence up. So then if you go back to that and saying, it was really nice that you complimented me before we left, you know, almost set yourself up. So if he says something nice, even if, and then you can at least go back to that and remind yourself that he said that, like set him up for a win, because he's just being human and like not even being male, he's being human. And, you know, I know what you like, sometimes if I see someone, I like will do the thing where I will point them out first. So then I'm like, he's not looking at her, he's only looking at her because I've pointed it out. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that one.
So I'm like, oh my God, look at, I was like, she's got a good ass or whatever, because then I've made a joke of it and I feel like it's given him permission.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
But then I might say, but I was like, bet she can't squat that in the, you know, I would then try and, again, it's probably my insecurities. I would find a way to say, because, you know, you can't, no one has everything. If someone's got like, you know, like, I don't know, like, people are, oh, I really like your hair. I'm like, yeah, but I've got really crap nails. Like, they just break all the time. That's where all my collagen goes to. Like, it works in both ways. So I don't know what the dynamic is, but does he give you compliments?
Like, if I got dressed up ready for go out, usually he says you look lovely or something like that. He'll say something like when he sees me.
And then like after say, oh, like not even then, like, oh, thank you, because I know we're all British and we go, oh, this old thing, it's from Primark. But like afterwards, you go like, actually, it made me feel really like nice when you said that. Like reaffirm after, so then he like feels like he gets brownie points.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we was in Aldi once, there was a girl who was pausing around the swimming pool and a boyfriend was taking pictures, and everybody was looking at her around the pool. So like we was looking at her as well. And that's what I did. I actually thought, well, you know, we'll just make it a thing. So I said, oh God, it must be hard work, mustn't it, being the most beautiful girl around the pool? And he went, she isn't. He went, you are.
Oh my God.
You set him up for a win.
And then I went, oh, and honest God, it was like she just disappeared. I didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? It was mad. It was mad. And I was like, oh. And I didn't care because I felt amazing then.
And then you put that. I love that. I absolutely, girls, I love this. I love this. This is amazing. Okay, brilliant. I love this. So we've got to take the power back. So naming it, cracking ass, whatever it is that we think about her, name it, say it, fuck it. It's just a body, it's just a person. He's not in love with it. He's going home with you. Yeah. So taking your control back. So that can be your tiny step forward. Does that make make sense of how to use the spiral acronym?
Yeah.
Everyone got it? Okay, what part of the spiral helped the most? How did it feel? God, this feels so boring, coachy questions. What what was the biggest takeaway from today's call?
I need the acronym in front of me again. I've got that much information in my like. I think it's getting the first two in earlier. Because I feel like I've got the mentality to sort myself out, and I do have some level of awareness, but it's almost like after the horse has bolted, and I let myself go further down the spiral because it's a learned coping mechanism. I think, you know, a bit like Alison's like waiting for the eye wander. You kind of, it's a learned behavior and go like, oh, I know all these things, like we know all these things. So I think it's actually the first two.
Yeah.
Because once you, and because the problem is if you're too far down the spiral, again, like we're saying, like the emotion and the rage have kicked in too high that you can't pull it back. So it's the first two, strangely, because it depends where you are on your journey, I think. But for me, it's the first two kind of thing.
Amazing. Okay, I love that. So you're going to learn to stop, take a breath,
Yeah.
take a breather, pinpoint what the fuck is actually going on right now. Why are we spiraling? What is happening? What do we need? Alison, what about you?
Yeah, I think the actual stop at the beginning and sort of like, right, like you said, recognize what's happening here. This is a pattern, what happens. Now what are you going to deal with it and do it that way as well, rather than just riding it, feeling it and letting it explode.
Yeah.
Going, I know this is going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And let's go through the bad cycle that we let ourselves get into because that's all we know. Going,
And
no, stop.
Yeah, exactly what I found was interesting on one of the worksheet things, you know, the one where it's all what the spiral is and which way you go. And next to the next one was jealousy, was one of the first emotions. And it was boredom was in the middle. And then it went to like 1 or 2 and it was jealousy. And I thought, half of this stuff happens because I'm sat there doing nothing, drinking alcohol, and I'm bored. That's what it is. It's because I'm bored. I'm looking.
You're looking for something.
I'm looking for shit.
Yeah, it's dopamine to get like have an argument. Yeah,
it's like I'm looking for shit to kick off, and realizing that as well. I've said to him, I need entertainment. Me, if we go out, like we need we
dance for me, monkey.
I need entertainment. Like we need to, because otherwise I get pissed, and then I just want to dance.
Yeah.
And he's not a dancer, so then I'm screaming like you're boring and stuff like that. That's what I've done on holiday. And he didn't talk to me for like 2 days because he said everybody in the Dominican Republic knows that Ian's boring.
Oh no.
And also like being called boring, I feels like one of the most harsh put downs that you can give, because if you wouldn't say something really mean to someone like grotesque, but you know, people say boring as it but actually if someone said you're boring, I think it's a lot harsher put down than people give it credit for.
I don't know why I say it as well when I'm bladdered and people walk down to me.
Yeah.
I've said it to my friend and she got upset. She was like, I'm far from boring.
Yeah, you're looking for dopamine at that point though. Your brain's picking, it's looking. I hate the saying you're looking for an argument, but it is that kind of you're not looking for an argument, but your brain is looking for dopamine. And unfortunately, this is where we can be quite toxic in our ADHD, because you know what? An argument is better than sitting here bored. It's not we're actively thinking that. We're not actually thinking.
It's because it's stimulating when you're arguing, like, right, what's my next hit? What's my next?
Yeah. Instead of sitting there, and I'm probably a bit agitated anyway because I'm not on meds and I'm drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm just sat there and I'm like, right, I want to.
How are you with card games?
With what?
Card games.
Card games. All right, we play darts. We've got a pool table. So we play games and stuff together. We haven't done it for ages because he had boob surgery. So all of that has stopped as well. So we've stopped like having fun and the competitiveness and stuff like that.
Maybe introduce that on the next time you go out for a drink or a dinner or something. I've got silly games. Like there's so many different card games I've got, but they're normally challenging. They're normally like questioning ones on sort of like a personal level, or like a bit
Jess cards out.
A bit like Taboo. Like, do you know what I mean? Like Cards Against Humanity, or I've got one that's so bad. I might bring it for the ADHD club meet. It's hilarious. It's colours on cards and there's shit. See you next Tuesday. I can't say the word. Fuck and wanker. And you're not allowed to say, and pussy. And you're not allowed to say the swear words unless it's shit. And you have to say the colour. But basically what ends up happening, because it's so fast.
I've seen the kids version of that, like Drama Llamas.
You basically end up just all swearing at the table and it's absolutely hilarious. It is the best fun. But maybe, so like dinners and things, if I'm going and like, I'm like, oh, like it's going to be a bit boring, I'll take a card game. I'll get I'm that person. I'm going to bring a game because I need stimulation. And if you're not going to bring it, I'll bring it for myself.
And you can, like, if you haven't got cards, like play like would you rather, you know, like would you rather be attacked by 10 duck-sized horses or horse-sized ducks, you know, like things like, you know, like just really Again, going, would you prefer to have her or her? Don't get to that toxic. If you choose your
Get to that bit.
but, like just really obscure things. And then you might like find out, like, would you prefer to go to like Australia or Antarctica? Like very you can find out more and ask ChatGPT to ask like random would you rather questions. Because then if you are drinking, you can get quite silly, but it's not on that, it's completely separate, but maybe you don't want to go. That's kind of my weird brain of just like goes to obscurity.
Yeah, no,
I want to know everything, like about everyone, and like you can find out more about what people think about stuff.
I love it. I love it. Okay, ladies, right. Well done. That was a really good session. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, both of you. Yeah, it helped. I know what I've got to do.
Yeah, and you've helped me avoid revision and not spiral into like going, oh shit, I'm gonna fail epically tomorrow.
And you know what? You could do absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
no, it's another day of my life.
You're doing the job anyway.
And I like put me in front of a client. I'm taking it as another client meeting that I would happily walk into. And again, it's that dopamine that I'd be excited for it. Yeah. Because it's not exciting because it's boring in a computer. I'm just going to you just got to do these things and it's fine.
It can be exciting. That feeling of walking out that exam, knowing that you fucking did all that work, all this study, everything you've put yourself through up until now, that feeling of walking out that room. Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be.
And getting my hair done on Friday. That's my main excitement and the fun stuff to do.
We'll all be thinking of you. Good luck. We'll all be thinking of you.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. But yeah.
Thank you.
See you later.
Have a good week all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.